All right. Good morning, Algebra 2 students. Today I'm going to walk you through solving the quadratic equations using the square root. Remember that the square root means that a number times a number equals that example. So for like number 2, the square root of 16, what number times itself equals 16? Well, that's 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Once again, Miss Cherney has done some examples for you and given you some step-by-step hints to use while you're solving that. I'm going to go ahead and solve number 4 for you. Please note that when you're working on this, if you look at number 2, 16 is a perfect square. And if it is a perfect square, then we take that perfect square and we give the number. However, if you look at number 1 was the square root of 76. And 76 is not a perfect square. So we leave it as square root of 76 or radical 76. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do number 4. Again, these are the pretty simple examples here. To get a squared, you want a by itself, so you're going to take the square root of it. Those are opposite operations, square and square root. If you do it on this side, you have to do it on this side. So now we have that a equals, and the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. But -2 times -2 is also 4. So we say that this is plus or minus 2. All right. So let's go ahead and go down. And again, 5 and 7 have been done for you to see some examples and some hints here. And I'm going to go ahead and do number 10 for you. So again, the goal is to get the x squared by itself. Okay, so I want x squared by itself. So I need to get rid of that -5. So I need to use opposite operations. And in this case, they're being multiplied. So I'm going to do the opposite and divide. So here I get that x squared equals 100. And then we do the same thing that we did above. We take the square root of both sides. And I get that x equals, so the square root of 100 is 10. But remember, it's plus or minus. All right, so let's go ahead and flip it over to the back. And on the back, we have a few that are now two-step. Okay, these are two-step. So again, 17 and 18 have been done for you, step-by-step directions. Okay, an example here. But I want to go ahead and walk you through, and I think we're going to do 2 of them. So let's go ahead and do number 20. All right, so again, the first thing we want is we want this to be by itself. So I'm going to subtract the 10. And I get 9n squared equals 81. And now again, we still need this n squared term to be by itself. So I'm going to divide by 9. And I get that n squared equals 9. And so now we take the square root of both sides. And I get that n equals plus or minus 3. All right, I want to do one more for you. And let's go ahead and make that number 19. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do number 19. So again, we want this term, the squared term, to be by itself. So we need to move the constant. And then we divide. Because remember, we still want this term to be by itself. And I get that m squared equals 100. And then we take the square root of both sides. And there we go. Now remember, if the square root is a perfect square, like these two examples that I did, then you're going to give us that number, that plus or minus whole number, okay? If, however, it's like this one above, number 18, 29. 29 is not a perfect square, so we leave it as plus or minus radical 29 or square root of 29.